Welcome. Welcome to everyone that is joining us today and those of you who have braved the heat and come here in person. It is a nice thing to see. Welcome here in our sanctuary or over our live stream for all the people watching or who will be watching. Whether you've been here forever or returning or just finding this community, we welcome you. We welcome you to this sanctuary, to this time, to this place. Our theme of service for July and August is experimentation. And today on the July 4th weekend, it is still building the promise. My name is Mitch Pivor. I am one of a team of worship associates who have the honor of working with our minister, Reverend Ellen Quadras, our director of Lifespan Ministry, Kirsten Hunter, and the rest of our wonderful staff, some of whom you see, others who are behind the scenes to bring worship services to you each week. It is an honor to be here with our guest speaker, Anna Howard. Anna, we welcome you into the pulpit today. Anna is a long-term South Church member, current member of the Board of Trustees, former worship associate, community volunteer, educated, and she works as a CPA. She came to the United States 34 years ago and became a naturalized citizen in 2009. We've had the blessing of Anna being in our community and sharing her heartfelt words, and I so look forward to hearing your words and insights today. Helping with the service today, Jonny Peiffer, Director of Music, Ministry, Kathy O, who will lead us in our invocation and our hymns, Ben Abbott for Tech and Sound with Sasha Howard helping, Jen Lyden, who's not here today but does much of everything to keep us together, Jen Deo-Barry, or as we call her, Jen DB, Director of Children and Family Ministry, offering our time for all ages. After which the children are invited to go outside and explore our monthly theme together. Parents, please join them on the way out to sign them in if you haven't already. You are all invited outside on the portico after the service for coffee hour and snacks. There are large print hymnals and listening devices in the back. An usher can help you with either one. Please silence your cell phones if you have one. And let's thank Jim Visharan for these beautiful flowers that he brings in twice a year to remember his former wife, Donna, who we lost too soon. For announcements today, we're just going to have you look in your order of service. There's a lot of things going on and a lot of good things to see. Before we fully begin, let us take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we gather. South Church stands on the traditional ancestral territories of the Abenaki and Pinnacook peoples. We honor the enduring connection of these indigenous communities to this region, their stewardship of it across generations, and the resilience of their cultures and traditions. May we commit ourselves to seeking truth, reconciliation, acknowledging the past while working toward a more just and equitable future for all who share this part of the world.
Come build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace. justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
As we light our chalice here, we invite people watching at home to light a candle or chalice of their own. We light this chalice today with these words from Michelle Obama. Hope is the essential spark that lights the fire of courage. Please stand and body your spirit to recite our mission statement. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. America, 250 years, celebrating the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And there has been much celebration these past few days, flag waving, parades, fireworks, patriotism, people declaring their pride to be an American, stating America is the best country in the world, signing the national anthem with pride in the flag, and like singing the first two lines of our national anthem ourselves. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early line? And I think to myself, my own doubts, my patriotism, my disappointments of recent happenings, the unacceptance, the hate, the injustice of recent years. And like many of us ask, where is this all going? Is there hope for a better future? And for me, during these difficult times, I find solace of hearing so many speak about the other side, from the Obamas to generals to historians, of this promise put forth 250 years ago for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that all men are created equal, and how we have fallen short in this ongoing experiment. But still building the promise that all people, not just men, all people are created equal and should be free. It should be the land of opportunity, a land of acceptance and diversity. And to do this, we must keep the faith for a better tomorrow. Michelle Obama states it so well. We need to see each other, carry each other, showing up for each other, keeping the faith in each other. And this gives me hope. For these are the principles we do here in this community, in this congregation. But how do I put this in perspective? How do I keep the faith and hope of our society that tomorrow's can be better? I, for myself, look at 3 laws of physics to explain the history of the ups and downs of history and societies. 1, momentum. Objects in motion stay in motion until they meet resistance. 2, for every action there is a reaction. 3, entropy. Things become more chaotic. So 1, momentum. The current momentum of our society is in a direction that is difficult, but it will meet resistance. For every action, there is a reaction. Reactions to actions have repeated themselves in history, sometimes backwards, but most of the time forward after going backwards. And 3, entropy, my favorite. There are many people who want to keep things uniform, keep things the same, prevent diversity and acceptance, but it eventually breaks down, and diversity and difference eventually win out in history. And we see today the walls of the current rigidity are starting to show cracks. And I think about people like Anna, who left her family for better opportunity, has made the most of it. But I also think, sadly, currently so many people have come into our borders to make the most of opportunity and contribution and are no longer welcome. And I hope for the statement on the Statue of the Liberty will bear truth once again. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. And I observe hopes such as like seeing the World Cup soccer takes place in our borders, football to the rest of the world, with many fans from different countries in many different stadiums coming together, cheering together, and so many different national anthems being sung at the beginning of each game. Such unity gives me hope. In our own national anthem, people singing, especially the last two lines, for freedom and bravery. For the land of the free and the home of the brave. May we all carry each other and support each other and lift each other up when we fall down, and be brave enough to stand up for freedom, diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and love. May it be so. And now, please stand in body or spirit to sing our opening hymn. The words are in your order of service. It's 159 and 318 if you want to look at the hymnal.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. We would be one in building for tomorrow, a noble which bends our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
I have a story for you. Anybody, kids, adults, and anybody else who would like to hear it a little closer, especially if you're near those loud fans, come on up. Yeah, you know you want to. The coolest people are up here. Somewhere on this beautiful planet, there is a beautiful land where there are great big strong elephants and super tall graceful giraffes and the cutest little tiny meerkats. And there's one source of water on this beautiful land, a lovely watering hole with cool, refreshing water where all the animals go to drink every single day. And the elephants also like to take a shower when they're there. They dip their trunks in the water and they suck water up into it, and then they spray themselves, and they spray each other, and they get a little silly sometimes. And the giraffes just roll their eyes at this silly behavior and bend their long, graceful necks down to sip the water. And the meerkats, they like to get in and out early because they don't like to get all drenched from the water of the elephants spraying everywhere. And that's how it goes every day. And there's always a dry season at this watering hole where the water levels get a little low. And unfortunately, it's been getting more extreme every year. And so there was one day where all the animals had gone to the watering hole, and they were noticing the levels were getting pretty low. And so there was still enough that everybody could have a drink, and the elephants could still have a quick shower, but they'd need to be mindful to not use too much to make sure everybody still had what they needed. And the meerkats had come and gone, the elephants did their quick spray, and they left, and they hoped that it would rain really soon. The next day they went back, and they realized it still hadn't rained, and now there was only enough for everybody to have a drink of water. Elephants could not shower, and they were disappointed, but they were going to be okay. But they got a great idea. They were like, what if we built the wall around this? We built up a wall all around the watering hole so that when the rains do come, it will fill up and the water will last longer because there'll be more water. And the elephants and the giraffes thought this was a great idea. And the meerkats didn't hear the idea because they had already gone so they wouldn't get wet from the elephants. And so they got busy right away. And they got big boulders and logs and put them all around the watering hole. And then they used like smaller rocks and clay to like pack it and make it nice and straight and solid so that water wouldn't leak out when eventually it did rain. And then at the end of the day, the elephants and giraffes were like, good job us. We did a nice wall here. And they went back and hoped again that it would rain really soon. But it didn't rain that night. And the next morning, the meerkats woke up and they stretched and rubbed their little meerkat eyes, and they went over to the water hole to get a little drink. And they got there, and there was this huge wall there because they were tiny. So this wall looked enormous to them. And they were a little bit confused. They were like, how do we get to the water now? And they couldn't get to it. They couldn't climb up a straight wall like that. So they stood around like wondering what they were going to do. And then the giraffes and the elephants came along, and the giraffes bent their long necks right over the wall down to the water and sipped. And the elephants reached their trunks over, dipped into the water to drink. And then a couple of them took some to spray a little. And the meerkats ran in because some water was spraying down off the elephants. And they figured, at least that's better than no water at all. But I don't know if you've ever tasted water that had washed an elephant, but it was really, really gross. But at least they got that tiny bit of water. So everybody still kind of had what they needed. And again, they wished for rain, and the next day it still hadn't rained. And so everybody shows up at the water hole, and the meerkats are getting in right next to elephants, hoping a little bit will fall down to them. And one of the big elephants almost stepped right on a meerkat. And then she noticed just in time so she wouldn't squish the meerkat, and she screamed. She was like, what are you doing? You can't walk around under my feet. You're going to get squished. And the meerkat tried to explain how they were just trying to get a little bit of water because they couldn't get to the watering hole, but their mouths were way down there, and the elephant ears were way up high, and the giraffe's ears were up even higher. And so they could see the mouth moving but couldn't hear, and the elephant was like, speak louder, I can't hear you. And one of the giraffes saw what was going on and kind of bent down to listen. And the meerkat said, we can't get to the watering hole with this wall here, so we need water just like you do, but we can't reach it, so we're hoping to just get whatever falls. And so the giraffes and the elephants, they felt bad about that. They knew that everybody needed water, so they're like, we're gonna solve this problem. We're gonna fix you so that you can reach the water. And one of the elephants was like, oh, look, the problem is those little tiny noses. They need long trunks like us. And so they started making this long tube situation that went up and over the wall, and then they tied the other end to the meerkat's head, and they were like, okay, now suck in really hard like a straw. And the meerkats tried, and most of them couldn't do it, but then if they did manage to do it, get the water up over the wall, then it would come flooding down and practically drown them. That didn't work. And so one of the giraffes was like, no. Look, the problem is those little tiny necks. If they had nice long necks like us, they could reach them over and take a drink. And they actually tried to stretch the meerkats, and that was a disaster. That did not work at all. Don't ever try that. And then another giraffe was like, no, look, it's those little short legs. If we get them up on stilts, it would be like they had long legs, and then they can be as tall as the wall. So they made them stilts, and they put them up there on the stilts, and the meerkats kept like trying to walk, and it wasn't easy, and they'd get to the wall, but then they still couldn't get down to where the water was. So at the end of the day, the giraffes and the elephants were like, sorry, we tried to help, but you just can't be fixed, so good luck. And the meerkats were really sad and scared. They didn't know what they would do. But one really old elephant had been watching what was going on. And she asked a question that nobody had thought to ask. It's actually my favorite question. This old elephant said, meerkats, how can we help you? And the meerkats had some ideas about this, and so they were trying to answer, but again, their mouths are way down there, elephants are way up here, and so another elephant grabbed a meerkat with its trunk to pick it up, to bring it close to the ear, and the elephant who had asked the question said, put that meerkat down. So the elephant did. And then really slowly, she got down with her big old body. She got down on all four of her knees and lowered her body down to the earth and tilted her big elephant head so that she could hear. And all the other elephants and the giraffes watched, and they did the same. They got down close to the meerkats and put their ears near them, and they listened. And the meerkat said, we can't get there with the wall here. The wall needs to come down. And the elephant said, but we want to drink water and have showers, and we can't do that without a wall. And the meerkat said, well, what if instead of building up, what if we took the wall down and then dug the hole deeper so that it could hold more water? And the giraffes and the elephants said, we don't know how to dig, so that won't work. And the meerkat said, we know how to dig, but this is a really big project, so we can teach you how to dig, and then we can all work together for this. And so that's what they did. And the elephants got right there in the middle in the water. They dug with their big legs, and the giraffes dug all around kind of the middle area. And the meerkats worked on the edges where it was shallow. And really quickly, they made it happen. And there was this beautiful, deep watering hole. And right after they were done, it rained, and that watering hole filled right up. And the problem was solved. And they all learned that if they work together and they all listen to their neighbors, they will understand how to make it so everybody gets what they need. I hope that we can keep learning how to do that too. Now, let's go outside where it's a little bit cooler and do some exploring.
I was just told that even with the louder microphone, if you can't hear well in the back because of the fans, please move forward. We can all fan together. Each week at the offertory, we give as we are able to support both South Church and organizations we support. During this month, our collection will be shared with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of New Hampshire and Vermont. Big Sisters of New Hampshire and Vermont aims to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and the promise of youth. The mentoring model excels in supporting youth to effectively identify, access, and manage potential opportunities, increase their social capital, avoid early onset drug, alcohol use, break the cycle of poverty, and achieve economic self-sufficiency after high school. Donations can be in person here or using your QR code in the service or mailing a check. May the offertory begin.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share in love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Let us settle our hearts and minds into a spirit of meditation and reflection. Let us take a moment to notice this breath. Pause here. Let your shoulders soften. Let your body rest. We come as we are, with joy and grief, gratitude and fear, hope and weariness. We come imperfect, loved, and worthy of care. And in this community, we practice the promise we hope to see in the world. We make room, we listen, we hold one another's lives with reverence. As the music begins, you may remain where you are in quiet reflection. And if you are carrying a joy, a sorrow, a concern, or a hope that wants to be marked by light, you are invited to come forward and light a candle. Whatever you bring, there is room for it here. May it be so. In August of 1992, I was packing my suitcase in our little apartment to come to the United States from Moscow. I picked up an umbrella and I asked my father, who was hovering around all day, I asked my father, "Do you think I should take this?" He looked at me and said, "It never rains in America." We both chuckled. But that tells you something about America that lived in our imagination. America was not just a country. It was a promise. It was abundance, freedom, opportunity, bright colors, music, grocery stores full of fruit in the middle of winter, and apparently weather so perfect it didn't even require rain gear. So on August 17th, 1992, I arrived in the United States, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, with $200 in my pocket that my father scraped together for me, and a suitcase full of hope. I was met by Mary Lathrop, who will be my host mama at JFK, and my life in America began. Many of you have heard me speak about Mary and Don Lathrop before. They were my host family for my first year here as I was a student. But that phrase does not begin to explain who they were. Don was a professor of peace studies at the Berkshire Community College. Mary volunteered there. They were peace activists, social justice activists, organizers, marchers, letter writers, hosts, and helpers. You would love them. Over the years, they opened their home not only to me, but to other foreign students, strangers, volunteers, travelers, people in crisis, people coming out of prison, people who need a meal, a ride, a family, and a place to begin again. So naturally, after living with them for a year, I thought that everyone in America was like this. Turns out, not so much. But for me, Don and Mary became my first glimpse of America at its best. Not America as a flag or an anthem. Not America as fireworks. Not America as something you read in the textbook. America as an open door. America as a warm meal. America as a ride to school. America is two older adults saying to a young immigrant, far from home and not entirely sure what she's doing, you belong here. We will help you begin. That was the promise that I had been seeking, even before I had the words for it. And over time, I learned that this promise can be real, but I also learned that that promise was not offered to all. I saw poverty I did not think existed in America. I met people who worked hard and barely got by. I met people whose lives were shaped not by lack of effort, but by lack of access to health care, to education, to housing, to safety, to rest, to lawmakers who would listen to them. Even independence that we so proudly declared in 1776 was not shared equally, as Mitch pointed out. Indigenous people were dispossessed. Enslaved people were not free. Women could not vote. LGBTQ plus folks didn't have any rights. Many people were excluded from we the people. The words were larger, much larger than reality. But that does not make those words meaningless. It makes them unfinished. And this is where Unitarian Universalism makes so much sense to me. I came here looking for a community where questions were allowed, where conscience mattered, where different paths could meet without one having to erase the other. I came looking for belonging. I came looking for justice. I came looking for equity. I came looking for people who understood that love is not only a feeling, love is a practice. Love is a budget. Love is who gets included, who gets protected, who gets heard, who gets a place at the table, who gets a room at the end of the hallway. And I found it here with you. I found it first with Don and Mary's home. I found it in my first UU community, and I find it again and again at South Church. Since 1992, I have spent much of my life looking for the America I imagined. I have found it mostly clearly not in institutions, not in buildings, but in people. I have seen South Church members show up for justice over and over again. I have seen it in their care of the vulnerable bodies. People standing outside of the ICE detention center to protect the rights of one immigrant. People providing shelter and showers for unhoused neighbors. Raising money for the people of Ukraine you have never met. Writing cards and letters to lawmakers. Supporting organizations that defend human rights and tend to human need. I have seen it in the courage to tell the hard truths. In town halls and forums we have here on painful history of the indigenous people, on Gaza and prevention of genocide, on threats of nuclear war, on prevention of authoritarianism, and on the responsibilities of citizenship. And I have seen it in the patient work of forming the next generation. Did you just see General Deo-Barry deliver that story? And then other volunteers spending all year with kids they're not related to, sending our senior youth on service trips so they can learn firsthand what it means to live their values out loud. I have seen the same youth standing up for justice, organizing, and speaking their truth. I am continuously impressed and inspired by people I meet here. That is why I want to say, the best of America is in you. Democracy, like our faith, asks us not to be spectators. Our South Church mission statement says that we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. That matters, because faith that stays only inside the sanctuary becomes too small. A democracy that lives only in buildings and slogans becomes too brittle. Both have to be practiced. Both have to be embodied. Both have to be renewed by ordinary people who decide again and again, I will show up. I no longer believe that it never rains in America. It rains, it storms. Sometimes the roof leaks. Sometimes the foundation cracks. Sometimes the house does not shelter everyone it promised to shelter. But I also have seen people pick up tools and go on repairing. And because the promise is alive in you, I still believe it can be built. Amen. Let it be so. Please join us in singing our closing hymn, 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has dried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and into the world until we are together again.
I still believe in the American promise. Maybe this is what our UU faith gives us. Not certainty, but courage and hope. Not guarantees, but companions. Not a finished map, but a chalice flame and a community to walk together. May we welcome a stranger. May we defend the vulnerable. May we make justice visible. May we keep building beloved community. The promise is not finished, and neither are we. Go in courage, go in love. Amen.